He is nucleus to our glorified Adam, and phantom pain on Revelation's ominous Eve. He is circular logic and Atlas, a ringmaster, still present after the audience dismissal. While jumping through hoops, you may ask one day, where is he? He is within the fabric of your knowledge. He is Columbus Myth.
Last we left you with Lynda, as we journeyed from past to present day, and scientifically criminal. Currently in CoShow, Lynda is memorialized. Her image a golden statue outside of Columbus Circus doors. Columbus has been erased by Justin and Dido, who found an image of him inside CoShow's logic board. They deleted this image at caster's request. Deleting an image consequently causes comatose in the real body of whoever is pictured. Perhaps this was the reason for banning image to begin with. Nevertheless, Justin found himself in a pickle when he violated law by drawing a picture of Lynda and later making an avatar for her to help her with her insecurities. This backfired when Columbus found this violation of law and deleted Lynda, killing her. Caster told Justin that Columbus was to blame for Lynda's death and persuaded Justin to take revenge on Columbus by creating an avatar of the ringmaster and deleting it. Dido, Justin's girlfriend and acrobatic partner, went along with Justin to complete the deed, unbeknownst to Caster. This is Dido's story. Outside of CoShow's entrance, near a golden statue of Lynda the Lion Tamer, Dido runs into a group of girls known as the Channel. They are the most popular squad at CoShow. They all fall within the same channel of beauty, with small variations between them: tan skin, curly hair, and mechanical decolletage. Computer boards spread along their neck, shoulders, back, and chest. Dido's decolletage is just bare skin. They are popular, beautiful cyborgs, and Dido is none of those things. Embarrassed to walk by the channel, Dido focuses her attention on the ground. Lynda's statue casts a shadow over the ground, but as Dido walks past the channel, the shadow seems to move. The shadow of Lynda's whip drops, as though it were to crack at Dido's back. Dido turns around, but the statue is still, the whip at Lynda's side in its usual place. The statue has not moved. Join us for Trust Me Love, the third episode of Columbus Myth.
What a day. So unusual. I swore I saw Lynda's shadow move across the ground while leaving the private district. But it couldn't have been. It's more likely that I'm losing my mind than haunted, I'm sure. On a bench, I waited for my monorail to the public district to arrive while zoning out on simulations of solar flares on decorative panels along side doors of solar-powered cars. Data screens similar to those panels separated benches lined along a machine-driven, impersonal platform where I sat. It's how you could tell we were still in private territory. On data screens were directions to locations within 2 neighboring cities, the public and the private. I was headed to Commerce, a luxury mall. The public district is a solar-powered town where everyone is much more polite and friendly than where I'm from. It's a warmer society compared to cold attitudes here at home. My home is covered in metal wires and computational technology. The 2 cities are truly a vision when you see them side by side. One solar, one cyber. When my train arrived, I took my seat inside and glanced overhead at what could pass for constellations. A map depicting the route to a more natural existence. A long line with stops along the way. Commerce was a full 3 stops, about 30 minutes away. Trust. Funny I have to travel so far to window shop for luxury items. If I'm lucky, my legacy will translate into trust worthy of an exchange. Both of my parents are famous. The public district is the kind of audience for my kind, and the more admired of a celebrity you are, the more trust you acquire. The public district is rich with trust, so rich that there isn't even an issue there. Trust might as well grow on trees there. It's as if they construct it, or it spawns in the public on its own. Trust. I thought that my parents' popularity would transfer to me and I would be able to afford something nice. Maybe that's how it works, I thought. I really didn't know. There's so little trust back home that none of us really understand how rich people operate. With so much drama at home, I wanted an escape. Funny. Where do carny folks go for an escape? In this case, the most normal place imaginable. The mall. Goose, my mother told me of a time long ago when people used their data screens to shop online. Long ago. When pictures were still legal and widely used. Imagine being able to tap my screen to see new products and order them. There's only so much you can describe with words. And though virtual stores are popular today, products are described in paragraphs rather than pictured. I know it's wrong to think of such a sin as being enjoyable and efficient, but I can't help but wonder sometimes, how would my life change if I lived in a world with picture? We arrive. Commerce. What a sight for a private girl. I'm accustomed to cold metal quarters, but Commerce's open space resembles a garden with the entire shopping complex enclosed in glass. We drove into a major dome called the Greenhouse and stopped at a platform positioned inside. Doors opened. A waterfall from the upper level leading down camouflaged an elevator. Everything mechanical was hidden behind a natural facade and decorated to match the surrounding garden. Those who were mall-bound boarded the elevator, taking us from the greenhouse to a food court below. Sun shone through the walls. At this time of day, light painted Commerce in a kaleidoscope of faint colors from a palette of a sun eager to set. Sea-toned blues and greens took over as the elevator reached our substract destination. The sea-toned color, probably from the tint in the glass. A switch flipped. Doors opened. Solar-powered lights illuminated the food court. I had about an hour before sunset. My curfew.
Our currency is direct trust.
I needed to window shop and test my theory as quickly as possible so I could make curfew. Would my parents' trust from their fame transfer to me? I walked by the food, not even stopping for samples. I was in such a hurry. Finally, I reached a window. Each window was made of a sheer data screen that typed a destination of the item as it detected one's gaze of the enclosed piece. I looked at a silver songstress dress and wondered if I had enough trust among the public to take it with me. It looked awfully expensive, like you'd have to live here to wear it, like something someone in our audience would wear.
If our internal beliefs do not match those of educated public merchants, our transactions will fail.
I heard Columbus' voice, an advertisement for our show. Maybe this is the prime time to buy while my show's on everyone's mind. I went inside to try on the silver songstress dress, but a cyborg caught my attention. What was he doing here? Cyborgs, like the girls I passed while leaving CoShow today, would never be trusted here. This young man had a computational pattern around his chest that looked just the same as the channel's decolletage. But I had never seen him before. He spoke to an enthusiastic woman behind the counter who was selling him something. If he could be trusted here, I sure could. So I walked over to her counter. I could buy the songstress dress from her. As I walked over, I saw the store clerk take a cotton swab and solution to the man's chest. I thought to shine his gears, but when she went to wipe his chest, her cotton swab revealed flesh. It was makeup. It was makeup coupled with jewelry to mimic the look of a cyborg from my home.
However, when public citizens purchase from uneducated private citizens, the transactions rarely fail, because our existence as private people is one part of a dominant public perspective.
It's funny how everyone wants what they don't have. Cyborgs want to be human, and humans want to look cyborg. I want to look cyborg, but you can't blame me. I was raised with cyborgs. Everyone in the private district is a cyborg. They're all orphans who were rejected by the public district at birth because they did not fit the ideal standard. They were sent to the private district to be fitted with mechanical parts that would make up for what they lacked, and were raised to entertain the public district. If you were born in the private district like I was, you aren't fitted with a mechanical decolletage because you were never given a flaw. Most who are born in the private district move away as an adult, but I don't think I want to. I look like a public girl, but I don't feel like one. I can pass for a private citizen as I'm walking around the street because I was born in the public district. I was never rejected. I tried on some of the makeup for myself, and the clerk told me the powder doesn't look real until paired with a necklace. The necklace activated a most realistic imitation, she said. So I ordered both.
Simply put, we wouldn't exist without the public gaze. So whatever they see is true, and whatever they want is theirs.
The store clerk and I exchanged a leveled stare for a transaction, but there's no trust. The transaction failed. I left without makeup, a necklace, or a dress, and my experiment concluded. My parents' fame does not transfer trust to me. I needed to get back home. This time, traveling against the direction of the waterfall, the elevator ride was disorienting. I thought I saw video of Columbus on a data screen beyond the fall. When the elevator stopped, doors opened to something I could hardly believe.
We all know the reason for power and wealth in the public district.
It was video. Columbus's image appeared on the screen, but Columbus was dead. Me, Justin, and Castor were the only three who knew that. I knew something was weird when I heard his voice inside the store, but I thought it was an advertisement for our show. But image? Video! In public! Could this have been some kind of security measure? Was Columbus going to announce to the world that we were murderers? If he did, our heads would roll.
They trust one another.
Everyone on the greenhouse platform gawked at the sight of video, something none of them had seen before. A rail attendant called police. My train arrived.
Because of the theatrical history in our private district. Because of public and ego, a term that defines our need to bend the truth so we can fit a dominant gaze and stay within the public's good graces, there is less trust among us.
Columbus spoke on video inside the train all the way home.
And less trust set aside for us.
Dido returns to the private district. She searches for answers, confiding first in her best friend Justin. They know that if anyone finds out Columbus is dead, Castor must step up as ringmaster. Was this video a security measure from Columbus? Will CoShow be investigated for the release of such a sin? If an investigation happens, will that detective find more lurking within the cold walls of CoShow than one would ever expect? And why did Dido see movement in Lynda's statue? Find out in part 2 of Trust Me Love, the 3rd episode of our radio drama, Columbus Myth. Dido returns to the private district after visiting Commerce, a luxury mall located in the public district. She searches for answers, confiding first in her best friend Justin. They know if anyone finds out Columbus is dead, Castor must step up as ringmaster. Video has been long banned in this society, so when a recording of Columbus was broadcast on data screens, Dido wonders if it was a security measure taken by Columbus in case of his untimely death. Will CoShow be investigated for the release of such a sin? If an investigation happens, will that detective find more lurking within the cold walls of CoShow than one would ever expect? And why did Dido see movement in Lynda's statue? Find out in part 2 of Trust Me Love, the 3rd episode of our radio drama, Columbus Myth.
The next day, Justin and I decided to go about our day as if nothing had happened. We prepared for our routine together. We have a tradition to stretch in the morning at CoShow's entrance, but we haven't done so since Lynda's statue had been installed. I'm glad I have Justin, my friend. Even if I don't have the respect of my cyborg peers or the trust required to live as a human in the public, I still have gold with Justin. Gold is what everyone is looking for anyway. Gold is having the kind of trust that grows on trees. We never have to worry about running low on trust with one another. It's why we work so well together as acrobats. We stretched before practicing a basic partner routine. As I stood upside down in a thumb-on-thumb handstand, I saw once again what I had ignored while leaving for commerce last night. Lynda's statue raised her hand, lifting the whip. I fell to my feet in fear.
What's wrong?
Now sitting on the ground, I peered back at the statue. Justin followed my glare, and I finally said to him, "She's still here, haunting me. I see her shadow when I practice alone, and once I saw her as though she were alive again. I balanced on one end of a high wire, and she was on the other, mirroring me. I tripped and fell, and next I knew I was lying on the ground, and she spoke to me without using words. She said telepathically, 'Earth is ground soiled by death, a fertilizer, and lightning wants to rest where there is one, quiet, alone, in open ground. Language comes later, but for now you are becoming one with the ground, struck by lightning truth. If you want life, you have no choice but to stand on belief. You have no choice but to stand on ground soiled by death. If you choose life, belief is solid ground.'"
What does that mean?
I've spent my entire life here exploring tunnels, knowing that the surface is nothing but a shell covering what's most fun about this place. Gold is what lies beneath, fluid, personal, cryptic, hidden so that only a few can access it. I hadn't yet told Justin what Castor had hinted at. Castor suggested to me that I take Lynda's place as headliner to our show. It would require a split from Justin's and my partnership. But if I'm chosen to step out into the spotlight, to be the shell's surface, what did I do to even deserve that?
Why don't we talk inside? Something's bothering you.
"I want nothing but trust," I cried to Justin. "I don't want to split up. I want to share the ground between us knowing gold lies beneath. I want to love you," I said to him.
Goes to show you have more in common with the public than you think. No one wants to love me but them.
He joked as he helped me to my feet. "What are you talking about?" I told him. "The public gave you up. If they wanted to love you, they wouldn't have left you at the steps of CoShow."
If they loved me, they wouldn't have left me at the steps of CoShow just because I didn't live up to their ideals. They wanted to love me, which is why I was fitted with a mechanical upgrade to improve upon my nature, and why my job is to entertain them by giving them what they wanted to see. They're in love with their desire for perfection.
Was I in love with my desire for perfection in our relationship? Or was I in love with Justin? He helped me inside, but what he said stayed on my mind. Maybe I was missing something by not having the same experience as my peers. I'm not cyborg, and I was never abandoned. His remarks reminded me of a day at lunch when the channel invited me to eat with them.
"We don't bite. Come on."
I wanted their approval. They were popular and talented. I sat with them. They were engrossed in their own conversations, so I just shoved food into my mouth. They were coding, too. It's a hacker thing that cyborgs can do. They can share data between each other by hacking. Some codes allow you to share emotions or experience a high. They passed a chip to me that had a code on it, but I declined.
"Oh yeah, you're a public girl."
She doesn't have an import.
I'm not a public girl, trust me.
Is it that easy for you? You just ask folks to trust you, and they do?
No, I'm not rich. My parents are trusted. I'm not. The public doesn't know me.
If your parents are trusted, you are too. Haven't you ever tried to pass at commerce? I'd do it all the time if I were you.
That's how I got the idea that I might be able to buy something nice at commerce.
You're not one of us. You don't have a chip on you.
I would give anything to be cyborg.
See? That's proof that you are not one of us. Why would you want to be one of us? We don't want to be us. Do you know how we got here? They didn't want us. If we are not what the public imagines as ideal, they abandon us. They leave us here, without a mother, father, or a clue of who we are or who we should be. They only leave a note describing what we lack.
Raven revealed that she's bald. She had a cap of mechanics around her skull.
I was born with straight hair like Lynda. Whoever my parents were didn't want to put up with it. The risk of having a child who would be perceived as a no-gooder was too much, I guess. So they left me here.
My decolletage is not a trend.
Asia pushed a button on her mechanical decolletage. Her skin turned from tan to a beautiful ebony brown. The rest of the cyborgs pushed the same button on their individual decolletage. Their skin turns from tan to shades lighter than tan or darker than tan, from light white to deep black.
These mechanisms were constructed to fix what the public calls a problem. You don't have a chip on you? You weren't rejected from the public like we were, and given a reason to change. You don't have to bend to public's ego. Why would you want to be one of us?
Behind the girls on a wall, I saw the shadow of a pillar change into a shadow of a woman. It looked like Lynda. This was the first time I thought my eyes were playing tricks.
The shadow wound her whip and cracked it once, before reshaping into the shadow of a pillar.
What are you staring at?
I snapped myself back to reality, then said to the channel, I am one of you. All I want is for you to see that. Justin sounded like them now. I just hoped that our bond wasn't broken. Without him, I was left with no other love but my families and my fans. If I ever lost our gold, I would leave CoShow on a quest to find it somewhere else.
You are amazing, honey.
Thanks, Mom.
We were worried about you. We saw you limping inside.
I fell during rehearsal. I'm fine.
Such a showman. She takes after her mother. Always a strong one.
Well, I am the strong woman.
That's right. And maybe we'll have 2 strong women next season.
Stop! Stop trying to make me something I'm not. I was never rejected from the public. You were. My outburst caught both of my parents by surprise. But for me, my emotions had been bottled up for so long, it was a wonder how they hadn't gotten sliced by a sharp shard from an explosive rupture sooner. I stormed out of the rehearsal space and decided to go for a walk. I was human after all. As long as I didn't try and buy anything, I could pass for a public citizen. So I took myself across that division again. I thought about what Justin said as I journeyed into the public. They're in love with desire. It was the same thing the channel had told me, that if I was truly one of them, I wouldn't want to be one of them. That they didn't want to be them, they just were. It didn't make sense. Why would the public abandon people they wanted to be? My parents don't understand that I don't belong here. I was never orphaned. They can't seem to understand why that's such a big deal. Once I got to the public, I stopped at the first farm I saw. Hoping they would be so kind as to give me a glass of water, I introduced myself. They were kind. I told them what I was looking for. They offered me water and a lesson in gardening. They showed me how they grew their crop and told me that it can only be grown in their square of land. They grow it special. And all of the public district comes to them for this crop. They grow their crop in a specifically fertilized ground. They pick out weeds and anything that grows in their soil that they do not want. That way, they create a reliable product that does not change. People come back because they know what to expect. I drank my water, thanked them, and continued to walk. I was a weed in CoShow. This is what my parents didn't understand.
Dido? Is that you?
It was Castor. What was he doing out here?
You shouldn't be out here. Did you see that video last night?
Castor didn't know that I had helped Justin delete Columbus's avatar. He didn't know that I knew Columbus was dead.
We need to keep a low profile. Columbus told me to come out here and monitor the audience reaction to his experiment.
He was lying. Of course he'd lie to me. He had to keep up the illusion that Columbus was still alive and ringmaster. Justin told me to do the same. But why lie to each other? We needed to help each other now. So I told him. Justin and I don't keep any secrets from each other, I said. He instantly knew what I was talking about. I could see it in his eyes that he knew that I knew. So I continued. I helped Justin delete Columbus. I know he's dead. And I know you told Justin to keep this a secret so that you wouldn't have to take over as ringmaster, but what I don't understand is if you wanted him dead, why don't you want to be ringmaster? Castor pulled me to a quiet spot by the arm. Hidden in a bush, he explained. I listened. I felt sorry for him and agreed to help keep his secret, just as Justin had agreed. Then he told me that in order to conceal the deed, we had to gain trust from the public. He told me I was to take Lynda's place as the new star of CoShow. But why would a weed be chosen to represent the garden? Castor told me that because I'm human, I'm relatable to the public. They're all human, and the audience responds to performers that they can relate to. If I accepted the role, I would bring in more trust than any performer has for CoShow. I can see where the channel and Justin were coming from. This didn't feel deserved. But even if I refused to take on the role, I'd still be a weed to them. I'd be a weed who refused to help the rest of my people when I had a chance to earn trust for everyone. But what about me? Selfish as it may seem, I don't want to be a weed. Even if I'm plucked to stand on my own in the spotlight, stardom will not bring me gold. Maybe it's wrong to build a foundation that rejects anything other than what you want to grow. What you choose to grow, that is. Maybe that's what Lynda meant when she said that earth is ground soiled by death. She meant that all ground has casualties and rejects. All beliefs are toxic to truth. But in order to stand and choose life, I had to walk on ground. And in order to find the gold I'm looking for, I needed my own trust. I needed my own square of earth out here in the public. I needed to garden. But I couldn't afford any of it without accepting Castor's offer. He said he was going to use SIN video to project my image on data screens everywhere. That as soon as the public saw my performance on video, they would love it, and they would legalize video once again. Once they legalized video, the investigation on CoShow would be called off. I didn't know there was an investigation on CoShow, but that made sense. When we got back to CoShow, a detective was there questioning everyone about the video of Columbus. The detective's eyes lit with trust as he watched some of my peers perform their routines. Then he spotted me. Justin called Paul to distract him. Digits the Clown stepped in and offered to take Paul on a tour. Justin translated, of course, since Digits the Clown is mute. Paul agreed to the tour. Castor and Mona, my teacher, walked off. I had a feeling they were secretly dating, but I kept that to myself. And it looked like me and Justin had to split after all, at least when it came down to our routine. I had accepted the role to go solo for Castor. Weeks went by as Justin, Castor, and I kept our secret, and Paul continued to investigate. He made himself home at CoShow. Tonight, he would be in the audience for a surprise that only Castor and I knew about. Tonight was the night that I would debut as a solo performer and headliner. I stepped from the catwalk to my high wire. My toe hung on the ledge as I overlooked a full house. Lights shut off. There were a few eyes glowing below, but most of the audience was bored. No glow. Then a spotlight hit me. The audience gasps. I hear my music start and prepare to tumble, but then in the distance, at the far end of my rope, I see Lynda's shadow. Fear taunts me at the worst moment imaginable, but I close my eyes and continue. The audience gasps, mumbles, applauds, which causes me to open my eyes. And I saw a light hovering over the stage. then dance up to me. The light was in the shape of a lady in a white robe. The ghost floated toward me. An angel.
Dido doesn't see an angel, but rather a beam of light projected from a large mysterious device that Castor points at Dido from the stage below. Large data screens turn on around the theater. Dido is seen on every screen as she performs her routine flawlessly. Paul is in the front row of the audience next to Mona. Her eyes are lit with trust as she watches a data screen. Paul's a bit suspicious. He excuses himself and makes a call to police headquarters. By the time backup arrives, the entire audience is absorbed in awe and lit with trust. They love the video, and whatever they see is true, and whatever they want is theirs. The audience has made video legal once again.
Days after my debut, I was famous, so I wanted to test my trust at Commerce. I ran into Paul before I boarded my train. Paul came along with me on my ride to Commerce. He explained his alliance with Lynda. He told me that Lynda was the reason he decided to become a detective. He thought it wasn't fair that bad reputations followed people who looked like Lynda. He wanted to protect people regardless of the science written about them. When I got to Commerce, I knew exactly what store I wanted to visit. And I knew what I wanted. Paul decided he would do some shopping as well. So he sat on a bench outside as I revisited the store with the songstress dress. This time the store clerk recognized me. She had seen my debut on data screens. Image was back and powerful. She wanted me to try on the makeup jewelry combination that made you appear to be cyborg. Then she asked me if I could represent the item as an official ambassador for the brand. She showed me an account where marketing was already working to create pictures for every item. She said if I posted pictures of myself with the item, I could earn trust for each post I made. And there it was, my answer, my gold. I would earn my own trust here, secretly.
Paul, hey, I thought we were meeting at the food court. I found something on Castor.
Dido overheard Mona tell Paul that she found something on Castor. What was Mona doing meeting Paul at Commerce Food Court? What did she find on Castor? What was it that Castor told Dido when she asked him why he wanted Columbus killed? And why did he want Columbus killed if he himself did not want to take on the role as ringmaster? Find out in White Rabbit, the 4th episode of our radio drama, Columbus Myth. You just heard Trust Me Love, the 3rd episode of Columbus Myth, an original radio drama written, directed, and produced by Kendra Dobson. Produced by Jason Bostic and recorded by John Rockwitz. Starring Krista Gonzalez as Dido, Justin Phillips as the announcer and Paul, Evan O'Ryan as Columbus, Lexter Rivera as Justin, Raylene Gill as Raven, Kendall Brashear as Asia, Ruby Epskins as Goose, Adam Martinez as Einstein, and Aslan Halia as Castor.